Hello friends, welcome in our channel Online Law School. This channel is dedicated for those students who wish to crack LLB entrance examination, and for this purpose today we are going to study the constitution or a constitutional law which plays a very vital role and has weightage of at least 15% in every examination which is relating to the entrance examination for LLB. It's come into, there are four major parts: general studies, second one is language, third one is legal knowledge. In legal knowledge we have to study two things. First one is Constitution, which is supreme law of our nation. In short, we can say constitutional law. And another part is legal reasoning. In legal reasoning, we have to study some basic principles of civil law that is taught, and basic principle relating to criminal law, and in same manner legal language is also the part of this legal knowledge. So precisely before coming on legal reasoning or legal language skill or a legal awareness, we have to we have to focus on the Constitution of India, because it plays a very vital role. It also part of this section, that is general studies. So let's start the Constitution of India. Before the Constitution of India, it starts from Article 1 to 395. There is a preamble, and foundational father of our nation and other constitutional maker always says that it is a key to understand the constitution, to understand those goals to which our parliamentarian, that's the constitutional bodies, think about, that we want to form these type of nation and inbuilt them some specific goals, some specific values. So when we start the Constitution, it start from here, that is preamble. And interestingly, preamble start from the word we. That this word we plays very significant role to understand that the Indian Constitution has source of its power, has its origin in the people of India, that the we people of India. And we people of India want to form a nation which is sovereign, socialist, democratic, republic, and secular. We want to build India as a sovereign state, as a democratic state, as a socialist state and secular state. So it is a very important to understand the meaning of sovereign. Who is sovereign? In a concept of state, if a state is able to do the administration over the nation, then he is sovereign. And in its capacity of state, he indulge in various contract and agreement, trade, commerce with other sovereign nation or other state, like that China does businesses with United Nations, with European countries, meaning thereby if a nation has authority to administer its people within a state, within its internal jurisdiction, internal territorial jurisdiction or area, that is administration part. And the second one is able to participate with international community. This means that is sovereign. He has not to think about for its beneficiary. Then second term is democratic and republic. Democratic means a state which is governed by the people. India is a democratic country. England is also a democratic country. Australia is also, and US obviously. But in same manner, there is republic. Republic is those state of whom head of state is selected not by hereditary, meaning thereby the head of the people must be choose from the public, that is republic. And democratic is something that the government is formed, the government is made by the people, that the run by the people itself, that is democratic. While republic, a state is a republic merely on the basis that his head of state is not come from any hereditary. If that head of state, even though he has no power or has nominal power, if head of state is selected only on the basis of his generation, then those nations are not republic. Socialist and secular. Secular here mean that state will not favor any religion or not do any discrimination on basis of religion. No discrimination on basis of religion. And socialist, we can say a welfare state. So we the people of India want to form a nation which is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Further, preamble gives us some freedom, some liberty of thought and expression. It talks about justice, it talks about fraternity and unity of the nation. And in last, when we read the preamble, we will find that it is adopted and enacted on 26 November by the people of India. Now, in part first, the constitution starts with that it talks about union and its territories. Article 1 says that India, that is Bharat, shall be the union of states. Union of states. Meaning thereby that the Union of India, which is known as Bharat also, is a union. Meaning thereby state has no right to cede from the union. It is not like that the states come in a mutual agreement with other state and form a combined United States. Here the states are willingly join, and after joining they surrender all his sovereignty into the own union. So it is not possible for states to exclude himself from the union. So Article 1 clearly says that Union of India, that the India will be and shall be the union of states. Here we have to understand that what constitution do. Actually, why we need constitution? Constitution makes that when we talk about Indian constitution, it provides mechanism for administration of the nation. It gives guarantee to the people of India about his personal liberty. Some rights is given into the constitution which can't be curtailed by the state. And who is the state? State has three organs, that is legislature, second one is executive, and third one is judiciary, which is state only when it does administrative function. So what constitution do? That the constitution try to build up those type of nation, like that when preamble says we the people of India want to make India a democratic country. Meaning thereby, for making democratic and republic country, there should be a setup by which people of India choose its head of state, and further how the work of the nation would be do, meaning thereby how the law will be made, how the law will be implemented, and when there is some type of conflict, then where it going to be resolved. So the mechanism is required, and constitution do the same thing in a very beautiful organic manner, that it creates and the post of prime minister. It talk about its classification, eligibility, it describe president, it describe the executive. The constitution provides several articles to explain the function of legislature, to explain the function of executive, judiciary. Even they prescribe how they would be selected, how their what would be their eligibility. In India, when we talk about the legislature, executive, judiciary, we have to understand its structure before we are going to discuss further article, because it is very common for us. We are participating in election, we going to on polling booth to cast our vote. We know what the prime minister is. Actually, it is a very easier aspect of the law. When we trying to study the law, what knowledge we have, it become more easier to understand. And we know our democratic country is run by the parliamentary democratic setup. In our parliamentary democratic setup, what would happen at a national level is that there is a parliament which has lots, we can say, the most exhaustive powers. And what makes the parliament? Parliament made by the president plus Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. In very restrictive sense, we say it lower house, upper house. Here, in lower house, if we have a 550 seats, meaning thereby there would be 550 parliament's member, they would be elected in the Lok Sabha election, and when majority of the members choose his leader, this leader choose its minister, that is cabinet, and this leader is head of the cabinet and run the government, that is executive head, through the president. Meaning thereby, in our parliamentary democratic setup, that our legislature is elected by the people of India, that is we, and the some members from this legislature is selected as a cabinet minister and leader. Cabinet ministers is chosen by whom? That the winning majority MPs select its leader, which is prime minister, who select its cabinet minister. Meaning thereby, in the same legislative members, our executive power is vested. This is overlapping between the legislature and executive. And suppose there is some dispute of a company or of any people with state, and matter goes to the judiciary. Then judiciary itself, for its compliance of its order, depend on this executive. So if we draw a Venn diagram, suppose that this is legislature, this is executive, and this is judiciary. So it would be like this. This is executive, this is judiciary, and other is legislature. But in judiciary there is no legislature actually. So this Venn diagram would be wrong. So this separation is required and mentioned in directive principle of state policy. We will further come and try to explain that what is necessary to understand the separation of power and rule of law. But now we are in position to continue from here, that Article 1 to 4 gives power to the Parliament by law, include any territories into the Union, or make new states, or create new state, many states from old one. All these things the Parliament has power to do. That is explained in Article 1 to 4. Article 1 to 4 establishes the nation, that is union, that is India, that is union of state. Then Article 5 to 11 explain and makes provisions for citizenship, in which Article 11 is very important because it gives whatever provided in above articles. It is not curtailing the power of Parliament to make laws relating to citizenship. And this article gives power to the Parliament to pass law like Citizenship Amendment Act, there is already a Citizenship Act in which Parliament want to amend by proposing Amendment Act, and that act is passed, Citizenship Act. that Article 11 gives Parliament to power to make law relating to the citizenship, which regulate the citizenship of the citizens and the foreign national who want to take citizenship. And after it, the third part of the constitution, which is very important because it gives guarantee to the citizen and other people to some fundamental rights which can't be violated, and it is a type of a human rights which every human has due to virtue of being human. Part 3rd, Article 14 to 35 is relevant. However, for this purpose, Article 12 and 13 must be understood. Article 14 to 35 gives several fundamental rights which broadly classified into the 6 categories. Right to equality. Right to equality. Section 4, Article 14 to Article 18. Right to freedom. Freedom against exploitation. Freedom of religion. And further, freedom of minority rights, we can say minorities rights, minorities, education and cultural rights. And last one is constitutional remedies. So the part 14 to 18 provides right to equality, then further right to freedom, freedom against exploitation, freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights of minorities, then constitutional remedies, Article 32. We will discuss it, but before discussing it we have to understand to whom, against whom these rights is given to a citizen or a human being. Against the state. And what is state? That the state means that the legislature, law passed by the parliament, law can't make any law which violates fundamental rights. Against the executive, executive can't take action which violates fundamental rights. Now those two things is very important. One thing is law and second one is action. If law not or we can say says to do such act which is dangerous to other people, that act is illegal. Meaning thereby, what law not permits, if somebody do, it is an offense, and what law obliged, that bound give duty on a certain people to do, if that person abstain from doing that act, that is illegal. So law The word law play very vital role. What is law? And that law for this purpose defined in Article 13. And Article 12 define state, meaning thereby the fundamental rights mentioned or enumerated in Article 14 to 35 guaranteed by this part from Article 14 to 35 against state, that state will not do such act or not make such law which violate these fundamental rights. Then what is law? For this definition it says any rule, regulation, statute, act, and further it says it includes customary law. If there is a law, there is a custom which has binding force on the citizens, it also means that the customary law. So no act will be do or done by on the basis of that act is under the custom, and if that custom is violative of this fundamental right, then this custom is illegal. Article 12 state. What is state? State defined in Article 12 that government is state. Government of India is state. State of UP is state. Any authority run and administer by government, government is state. University is state. Railway is state. RBI is state. Nagar Nigam is state. Means thereby any institution which is administered or has share of the government, or government has any type of control, those institutions would not make any law or pass any law or not stopping those customary customs which is violative of these fundamental rights. Then Article 14, right to equality. In right to equality, Article 14 says law will equally every person is equal before law and equally protected by the law. Article 15, Article 16, public employment, it talks about reservation. Article 15 says there is no discrimination on the basis of sex, gender, religion. Then after part 3rd, after forming nation in part 1, that is union, after defining who would be a citizen of India in part 2, 5 to 12, after defining citizen, giving them fundamental rights which is protected by the constitution, guaranteed under the constitution, that part 3rd. Then part 4th is also very important. Directive principle of state policy. Article 35 to 50. This DPSP, it talk about Gandhian principle, it talk about Libertarian principle. What the directive principle exactly is, it is a directive for the state that the state will do such things in future, in which on the basis of Gandhian principles, Panchayat Raj is established. In this directive principle, it talk about environment protection, it talk about protection of cattle, it talk about Uniform Civil Code, Article 44. It talk about the separation of executive and judiciary. And then after executive of state, how the nation would be run, it form and talk about the executive, that is president, and the president is the head of the state. Thank you.